What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about Deathstroke Incorporated, issue number 15. I think this is actually the final issue in the Deathstroke Incorporated series. I don't know if it's coming up in any more solicitations for like issue 16 or 17 or anything like that. I think this is kind of it. There's no more creative team. Like Williamson did his bit, and then we had this Ed Brisson 6-issue Deathstroke origin thing kind of tacked on at the end, which ended up being a more interesting story than what was going on in the main story series before. I actually really enjoyed what Ed Brisson and Dexter Soy did with this thing. The artwork looked really good through these past 6 issues. It's been entertaining. Does a good job establishing why Slade is who he is, because he's just in it for the thrill of it all, and for the money, I think, but mostly just for the thrill of it all. The contract, it's just kind of who he is. He needs to do something, and that's what makes him who he is. He's not a great guy. There's some gray areas to him. He does care for his family, as you can see, but he still isn't a great guy at the end of the day. He is kind of a piece of shit. Like, he does some terrible things in a lot of comics, and especially like in this one, it's not as bad as he gets later on, but he is an interesting character, and I think this series goes to showcase that a little bit more. The cover is really misleading because it's got Rose Wilson on the cover here. I think that's Grant right there, but Rose isn't even in this issue, so this is set like a long time ago. It's Slade, the guy with the blue mohawk who apprehended Wintergreen at the end of the previous issue. Basically is like, okay, I'm going to take you to my employer or whatever. He wants to work with you, Slade, and then the guy ends up getting killed. Slade goes ahead and just basically flaunts in front of the guy. It's like, hey, look, if you want me, hire me. That's all it's going to be. But these are on my terms. I do what I want when I please, kind of. Go ahead, test me. Kind of. That's in essence what it is. His wife slaps the shit out of him when he gets back home, and instead of telling her the truth, he of course is going to lie to her. So he has to put up a front for his family when he's really going to go out and just continue to do really truly terrible, awful things. And that's basically Deathstroke in a nutshell. Yeah, there's some gray areas here and there, and there's some complicated stuff with his past and history and all that, but he is Slade Wilson. He can't live a life where he's just kind of sitting by on the sidelines. He has to be in the thrill of the hunt, and I think that's what makes him interesting as a character, and I think this series did quite well. Didn't necessarily need an origin story, but if you're looking for something that kind of does a good job encapsulating who Deathstroke is, I think this 6-issue arc will suffice. And then, yeah, I think that's all I really have to say. I don't think this book is continuing any further, so these are going to be my concluding thoughts on Deathstroke Incorporated. I like the last 6 issues quite a bit. It's not something I needed. At first, I was kind of like, why are we doing this? I want to see where Deathstroke's going next in DC. Why are we going back? But the series, the last 6 issues have won me over, and it's not overly wordy. There's a lot of visual storytelling with the panels on display, and I think the art tells the story too, which is what I like. Sometimes with comics, things are just like clouded with so much dialogue and text that it kind of takes away from the art, but I think this one had a nice firm balance. It's kind of quick to read, but it's easy to follow, and simplicity, not overly complicated plot-wise, and just messiness. I kind of appreciated something simple, because I think that's kind of where I'm at nowadays. I don't need events to keep going bigger and bigger. I'm kind of more interested in the more smaller personal stuff. Yeah, it's good to have big epicness from time to time, but it's kind of the smaller personal stories that really kind of stick with me till the end. But Deathstroke Incorporated had some good stuff. I think I did enjoy some aspects of what Williamson was doing too, or maybe it's just I've kind of been away from it for a bit. Is this as good as what Christopher Priest did? In some ways, yes, and then in some ways, no. But I think there's some issues with the Priest run, but it was still a good long-term Deathstroke comic book overall. When it had to get to crossovers, that's where that book failed and faltered. The Deathstroke vs. Batman one, not good. The Lazarus Contract, the Terminus Agenda, all that other crossover stuff, it didn't do so well in that regards. But when it was kind of smaller, more focused stories, I think that's when it was at its best. This Deathstroke Incorporated book, I enjoyed it overall. It's going to be kind of strange to see where Slade goes from here now that we got Dark Crisis. Maybe this is it for Deathstroke for a while. And you know what? In all honesty, I think I'd be okay with it. I think we've had a good run with Slade for a while. I think it's time to kind of put him to the side for a while, and then, because he's main antagonist, I guess, in Dark Crisis now for whatever reason, and then just kind of see what's next for DC. So there you go. Check out Deathstroke Incorporated. Let me know what you thought of it in the comment section down below. If you're a Slade Wilson fan or anything in that regards, just let me know all that stuff. But anyways, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I will be back later on for a Detective Comics latest issue review, because that's the last comic I have to cover for this week. And then, yeah, that'll be Thanksgiving time. All right, well, that's all I got to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.